Hello, friends. I'm Jonathan Pishner with Apex Counseling, and today I want to do an extension of a previous video that I did, which is couples should schedule time together for discussing the business of the relationship, because one of the other things that busy couples often have to do is schedule time for sex, for sexual intimacy. And this is actually a problem for a lot of couples. So I wanted to dispel one of the most usual myths and discuss ways that couples can do this much more effectively, because I found that oftentimes when I pitch the idea that, oh, wow, you guys are not having time for sexual intimacy, you're going to have to schedule this and figure out where to work it into the schedule. Uh, the most common objection is that for a number of reasons, couples have this idea that sex is somehow less good if it's not spontaneous. Which, I mean, fine, it's okay to have preferences, but for a lot of people, that preference simply can't get met very effectively because people have jobs. Oftentimes, both members of a couple work. Many times, there's children involved, sometimes multiple children. There's family members to take care of. There's just so much happening in modern life that the idea that spontaneous sexual relations would happen very often is really not something that many couples will experience, or certainly won't experience it with any sort of regularity. And so, for better or worse, couples will simply have to figure out how to schedule sex. But the most common thing that is the barrier is there's a perception that somehow scheduled sex is not as exciting as spontaneous sex. And especially there's a myth that it just can't be exciting. And I'm going to take issue with that myth. Basically, I want to address that today and then discuss how to fix it, because it's very easy to see how couples fall into this. But first, let's view the myth for what it is. When it comes to things that are exciting, sex is the only thing that is ever talked about in terms of it's not exciting if it's scheduled. Nobody has ever said that the Super Bowl isn't exciting because it's scheduled. We know it weeks out and people are excited to do it. Matter of fact, they throw big events around it. Nobody ever said that, oh yeah, I'm excited to go to the Taylor Swift concert, but it would be so much better if I was just at the mall and a Taylor Swift concert broke out spontaneously. It's never said. Even dates, we're cool with scheduling dates. Like, especially when you start seeing a new person, Friday night's coming up, and who knows, maybe that will even involve sex. Which in that case, it is now scheduled. But nobody ever talks about the idea, oh, well, the date didn't happen spontaneously, therefore it's not exciting. Sexual intimacy is just about the only place where this is brought up with any sort of regularity. So the idea that it can't be exciting is nonsense. But what's not nonsense, here's why couples fall into this myth, and this makes a little bit of sense. When things happen spontaneously, it does add to the excitement. And one of the things that couples don't realize often is they fall into a rut of a certain script, and each couples will be slightly different, but they basically follow a script when they have sex after a while. And the only thing they're doing to produce excitement is it will happen sometimes spontaneously. Now, if you are, like most modern couples, in a position where you can't do spontaneity very effectively, you don't get to have that type of excitement. The thing that's discouraging to most couples is they don't realize there are numerous other ways to produce excitement when it comes to sex, especially when you have a long-time sex partner. And I'm going to basically provide one of those today. Don't worry, it's still going to be PG, or at least PG-13. We're not going to get crazy with this. But the thing that is important to do is realize, like, okay, if I can't have the excitement of spontaneity, we have to have the excitement somewhere and somehow else. And here's a good basic step one to this. If you have to schedule sex, therefore spontaneity is not going to happen, one of the best things to do as a couple is agree on some way to break the usual script. And that can look so many different ways. That can mean doing something differently in the lead up, because usually there's like an excitement building phase. When you fall into the sexual script, it turns into a very short phase. They'll do the same activities in the same order. They'll end the same way. So one of the best things to do is just add something different into the usual script. It can go at the front. It can be different in the buildup. Sometimes it'll be like partners will wear something different. Their entire store is devoted to things you can wear during sexy time. It can be that you'll move into it differently. Sometimes couples like to do it through massage or something else they can add in. You can do things differently during like the play phase. Add something, change the order of something, make one part of it longer. There's all kinds of ways to break up the script. And then during the after phase, maybe it's usually roll over and go to sleep. Well, that can change too. Like you can extend like the connection period. You just lay there and talk. If that's what you usually do, you can. There's a ton of things you can do afterwards. You can put the massage afterwards if you want. Do some sort of extended aftercare. But if you're in a position where you can't get the excitement through spontaneity, the main thing is adding or changing things within the usual script. Because the whole reason this is a problem is because, believe it or not, sex can actually become boring. And if you follow the exact same script every single time, that's what happens. So the thing you want to do then is, in communication with your partner, figure out ways to spice things up. Because what will happen then, if you know something different is going to happen, if it's, Thursday morning and I know Friday evening, like it's going to be time for sexual intimacy, but something different's going to happen. And it can be a surprise or it can be pre-planned between the two of you. It's much easier to get excited. Back to our, this is the only time it's a problem, examples. Like whenever the Super Bowl is happening, there's tons of stuff that we get excited about. Maybe our teams play. Maybe we just know we're going to see friends, but we get excited for the thing. And that can be applied here because as long as you know something interesting is going to happen, it's easy to get excited. So for couples that have to schedule this, I'm not, this is the wrong forum to get into, we'll try this and this and this and this. And, sometimes in actual sex therapy, we might get more into like what acts does the couple prefer to do. But in the large format here, basically the best advice is just change the script. Talk to your partner about changing the script. Or if you mutually agree that surprise would be fun, because surprise is a good parallel to spontaneity, agree, hey, I'm going to surprise you with something. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Just be aware when you're breaking the sexual script early on, surprise is a little risky. So the safer route is to agree on how y'all are breaking the sexual script. But I mean, if you want to try surprise, then okay, just realize that's riskier until you get more used to the ways you can break the script that both persons enjoy. Because if we're breaking the script, but it results in only one person enjoying what's happening, that's no good either. And then it'll be harder to get excited for the next time. So I sincerely hope this tip is helpful to you today. Good sexual health is part of almost every love relationship. And a lot of couples really struggle to maintain good sexual health, especially once they fall into routines. So thank you so much for listening to me for a few minutes today. I sincerely hope this was helpful. I'm Jonathan Pishner with Apex Counseling, and I will see you next time.